Now, for those of you who have not caught up with Darling in the Franxx, this is going to be your spoiler warning, because I'm going to talk about maybe it's not much of a spoiler warning, but it could be. So you've been warned, and enjoy the video. Parasite Code 214, aka Futoshi, has done nothing wrong. Let me explain. It's one thing when characters are given a bad rep by the actions they take in difficult situations, and it's these situations that can either make or break a character and can have the fan base of the series react as such. But in the case as Darling in the Franxx, where there have been a good amount of difficult situations, there has been one anomaly that still puzzles me to this day. All the celebration of Futoshi losing Kokoro is something that's come out of nowhere. I've run into a lot of comments and also talked to viewers of the series state that Futoshi was being too clingy, or he was forcing her into the promise and was being possessive. He was being really creepy the whole way. And Futoshi's the kind of guy that will call you a bitch if you reject him. You know, you get the idea. And out of all of this out-of-place negativity, I unfortunately have to say that it's all untrue. So let's take a step back and actually see if any of these claims are true. Because out of all the episodes that show or emphasize interactions between Futoshi and Kokoro before the switch are episodes 5, 8, and the infamous episode 11, The Partner Shuffle. Episode 5 clearly shows that the relationship between Futoshi and Kokoro are nothing more than your standard lovey-dovey kind of trope. This is clearly seen when they imitate Zero Two and Hero sharing a piece of toast. And sure, it might have been a moment where it was purely a monkey see, monkey do moment. Kokoro says it herself, but what it does show is that they are fully comfortable with each other to do such a thing. Just from this scene alone shows that there is no weird, unsettling vibes from each party. They both even respect time they have when they're on their own, like how Kokoro clearly has an interest in taking care of the greenhouse and all the flowers there. And if there was that so-called quote-unquote possessive behavior Futoshi had, then we continuously see Futoshi being with Kokoro or following her around. But in the case of reality, it is not. Both Futoshi and Kokoro have a positive relationship when together, but neither tries to overbear each other with their presence. I am no way a writing genius or prodigy, but in scenarios where a major change happens with no sign of warning or foreshadowing, but for plot convenience, it's hard not to call out the BS in all that mix. Don't get me wrong, some good drama creates an entertaining atmosphere and unexpected tension, but the whole Partner Shuffle episode was one way out of the park. Now with limited amount of time, there's only so much I can grind about, like Kokoro's out of place change of heart, or Mitsuru's sudden character arc that never, and never getting an actual reason why Kokoro switched partners. We're here to talk about our boy Futoshi. Here, we see Futoshi at his peak of being openly emotional, even going as far as to simply ask of Kokoro if him could be partners forever. Out of all the scenarios Kokoro could have taken, she could have just said no to him or just not answered at all. She was not quote-unquote backed up into the promise, nor was Futoshi forcing it upon her. We all know that Kokoro can speak up for herself, reflecting from the feud episode in episode 8, so this indecisiveness was all on her. So when the event occurs that Kokoro wants to switch partners, Futoshi can only, and reasonably, be feeling two things, heartbroken and angry. Not angry at Kokoro though, for her decision, but at Mitsuru for not caring enough. Futoshi has every right to be angry at Mitsuru, not for taking Kokoro away, but for not caring enough that they could lose their life if they don't look out for each other. And throughout this entire heartbreak of an episode, we see one common attitude Futoshi has: love. Now, as cheesy as that may sound, it's what's driving Futoshi even during the battle. Even in the midst of Mitsuru and Kokoro dying, Futoshi is the one to step up and protect both of them. Remember what I just said? Because we'll get back to that later. So when I take a look or listen at people that say these things about Futoshi and his character, it puzzles me. This character hasn't done anything to derail his character. In retrospect, it could have been so easy to turn his character into something everyone on the internet makes him out to be, but in the end, it wasn't the case. As I was looking back at the previous episodes, I could not come up with any reason why there was so much hate and bashing. That's when I rewatched the episodes after 11. When I watch anime, there are moments where I could, self-insert myself in a character, whether it's the main character or the side character or even an ideology driving a series. And that's when it hit me. Futoshi is relatable to any individual that has been openly emotional. Just going by life without a care in the world, being happy, but then a sudden life-changing event happens and it traumatizes you. At some point, we were all Futoshi, and that is where, at least I think, all the untrue dispositions about Futoshi comes from. Futoshi embodies the quote-unquote good guy that most of us claim to be, except that Futoshi is an actual good guy. It's this kind of character people strive and fail at is what's causing the hate on him. It's the fact that everyone hating on Futoshi can never be as emotionally strong and endearing as Futoshi himself. And the way they combat it is by claiming untrue things that are more likely characteristics of themselves onto Futoshi to make them feel better. Pretty much, to sum all that up, we want to be Futoshi, but we can't, so we bash on him instead to make us feel better. Now, in the episode literally after the partner shuffle, there's a moment where Kokoro bumps into Futoshi, and do you know what he does that a good portion of guys wouldn't even attempt? He apologizes for being in the way and even encourages her to walk along with him to be part of the conversation. Now, if that's not an emotionally strong and mature man, I don't know who. Maybe Goro, but if not Goro, it's Futoshi. But that's not enough for you. Episode 18 not only just proves that Futoshi is a man among men, but is deserving of the praise and nothing but the best in his future. This is a defining moment for him where he himself decides that he wants to go and be the one to marry Kokoro and Mitsuru off by taking the role as the priest in the entire wedding. And even when it was crashed by the Nines, he still tried his very best to protect both Kokoro and Mitsuru at the very end, because he doesn't just care for Kokoro's happiness, but Mitsuru's as well. It's understandable that people are gonna hate on him and claim untrue things because not many people can be as tough as him. In life, it's much easier to hate than it is to reflect, but it still doesn't negate the fact that Futoshi has been nothing but supportive, good, and endearing character that everyone should strive to be. If Goro was the best bro of the series, then Futoshi is definitely the best boy. Because his only fault is that he's too good of a person to be selfish about his own happiness. Now, I'm not trying to bash anyone for not being an emotional tank like Futoshi is. I, for one, can't be like Futoshi in this situation, but it takes someone just as big to admit that instead of straight up falsely accusing characteristics. And that's okay. Everyone is different. We all go through different ways to cope with difficult situations. But just know that Futoshi did nothing wrong. It's you. You're wrong. What's up, guys? Jamal here with WBA TV, and hope you like the video. This is something that I kind of want to discuss, and I've actually discussed this with Jaron on the podcast. So, take this video with a grain of salt. I'm just out here spitting truth and just making sure that people are educated instead of being, wandering around with false news everywhere about our homeboy Futoshi here. So, if you like the video, if you follow the podcast, you know where to go. Our podcast links will be down below. And if you want more content from WBA TV, always stick around. Remember to like, subscribe, and get notified down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.